You know, the world of English is a fun and exciting place to be. I'm so glad you could join me for another lesson.
Autumn is approaching. Time to roll down your sleeves. The first evening chill arrives with the falling of the leaves. Red and gold become to us the colour of change and decay. For as the seasons are concerned, this has always been the way. These changes have and always will decide how things must be. Autumn's fall and winter's chill will choose the fates of you and me. Live from Much Wenlock in England on a Sunday afternoon, this is Live English.
It sure is, baby. So here we go. It is a Sunday afternoon. It's just after 2 o'clock here in the UK. I hope you are well. Look outside. Look at the view at the moment. Here it is, a live view looking outside. And can you see something? Something that looks rather different. Yes, autumn has definitely arrived. You can see already that many of the leaves are starting to change colour. Let's have another view, shall we? Over there. Oh yes, look over there. You can see many of the trees, many of the leaves are starting to change their colour as autumn begins. And can I just say, yesterday, Mr. Steve and myself were driving back from seeing Steve's mum, and we noticed that it was getting dark very early yesterday, and in a couple of weeks' time we will be altering the clocks. The clocks will go back 1 hour in a few days' time, so everything is changing. Autumn is the season of change, so I always think that autumn is the reverse of spring. So autumn is kind of the reverse. It's where everything goes back to sleep, whereas spring is the time when everything comes to life. So there it is, a live view outside the window right now. It's a lovely day here. We've got lots of sunshine, and also we have lots of things to talk about because we are here on the live stream. Yes! Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I really hope so. Here we go again. How has your week been? Has it been a good week? Has it been a happy week? Or has it been a hectic week? It's been a very busy week here because this time of year is always a very busy period for myself and also Mr. Steve as well. In his work, he has a very busy time during the last 3 months of the year. So normally at this time of the year, it's very busy for Mr. Steve. Do you like this? I'm using a glass today. Now, normally I drink from a bottle, but I'm being very civilized today. Do you like it? I'm drinking from a glass today because some people complained about me slurping from a water bottle. So here we go. Today I am being very refined, very cultured, very civilized with my glass of water. I am so thirsty today. It's really hot here in the studio. Oh, that's lovely, delicious. So I hope you're well today. Lots of things to talk about today. We will be talking about one subject in particular, which is a subject that is talked about a lot in this country and maybe where you are as well. And that is the rather sensitive subject of weight. Weight. How heavy a person is. How large they are. Now, for those who have been watching over the past few weeks, you will have noticed that Mr. Steve has been making some comments about my weight. So, I have decided to take some action. I am going to start a diet. Yes! Mr. Dunker, we can't believe it. Yes, I'm going to start a diet. I'm going to start eating less junk. Because sometimes when I'm here preparing my lessons, doing my editing, sometimes I get a little bit restless and I have to have something to do whilst working by the computer. So I do often eat snacks whilst I'm working. And this is something that I'm going to stop doing. I'm going to cut out the snacks. So this is something I'm starting today. From today, I am going to start my big diet. I am going to get rid of my big belly and become a little bit more healthy. So that's what I'm doing today, and we will be talking about that later on as well. Mr. Steve will be here at around about 2:30 with lots of words, lots of phrases connected to the word fat. Do you know anyone who is overweight or unhealthy because they eat too much food? Between you and me, I think I'm becoming that type of person. I think that is actually happening to me. Because sometimes when I'm walking up the hills, when I'm going down the road, when I'm doing some exercise, I find sometimes that I get very out of breath. I can't catch my breath. And I think that might have something to do with my big belly. So I'm going to try and lose some weight. And that's something that I'm determined to do between now and the end of the year. Now, normally people make resolutions and plans at the end of the year. But I've decided to do something rather different. And I'm going to do my resolution. I'm going to carry out my resolution before the end of the year. So that's something I'm planning to do. So all of that coming later on. There is something else as well that I should be doing. I feel as if there's something else I should be doing. What is it? I wonder. There is something I should be doing. Yes, we have the live chat. And there it is on the screen right now. So you are more than welcome to join in. The live chat is here. Let's have a look. Let's see who was first on the live chat. Shirin was first on the live chat. Hello, Shirin. Nice to see you here today. Very, very quick with your finger. Very quick. So well done to Shirin. And I suppose I should give you a round of applause as well. Well done, Shirin. You are first today on the live chat. Tomek is here. You were second. You get nothing for being second. I'm sorry. That's just what life is like, I'm afraid. Martha is here as well. Hi, Martha in Poland. Alamgia is here. Pashtana. Hello to Pashtana as well. I hope your day is going super duper. Blue Thunder is here. Abdullah is also here on the live chat. Also, Mina. Hello, Mina. It's nice to see you here again. Also, we have Blue Thunder and SK. SK Limited. Oh, okay then. Where are you watching at the moment? I don't think I've seen you here before. Sweetness Mitra is here. Thank you for your big hello. Also to Lydia Roman. Lydia, oh, have you seen Lydia? Lydia the tattooed lady. Thank you, Lydia Roman. You are more than welcome to join us today. Live, it's true. Look, it's just after 2:10 here in the UK. I don't know what time it is where you are because I'm not there. Abdullah is here. And also Gretel says, hi everybody, get up, it's late. Well, it might be late where you are. It depends where you are in the world. Here, it's a nice, sunny Sunday afternoon. Also, we have Olga. Hi, Olga. Nice to see you here again. Mika is here, watching in Japan. A big hi to you as well. And Albert. Hello, Albert. Thank you very much for your lovely comments recently and also your little likes. So when people watch my YouTube videos, quite often they will give me a little like, a little thumbs up. Isn't that nice? I like that. That's lovely. So thank you very much for that. Also, Soo Jin is here in South Korea. I'm losing my voice today. I don't know why. Louis is here. Hi, Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve and all the classmates. It is raining in Paris at the moment. It's raining in Paris. We are having lovely weather. Can I just make you all jealous now by showing you the view from the window? Look at that. It looks incredibly autumnal. Look at that out the window. That's incredible. Look at that. You can really tell that autumn has arrived because many of the trees are already starting to change the colour of their leaves as they absorb all the energy from the leaves so they can survive the winter. That is the reason why they lose their leaves. And we have the live chat. Oh, it's very busy today on the live chat, I must say. Abdullah says, I need to speak a language with a friend. Do you mean English? Is that the language you're talking about? Yes, winter is definitely coming. We have autumn and then winter. But the big question is, will we get any snow this year? Because last winter, it was incredible. We had so much snow. Mr. Duncan, how are you feeling today? Thank you, Pedro. I'm feeling super duper. Thank you. Even though during the week I had a very rude comment from someone. Do you want to see the rude comment that I received this week? Here it is. Someone called Stilt 3 days ago asked a very interesting question. Will someone tell this guy why people keep smacking him in the teeth? Well, that's not very nice, is it? What a horrible person that individual must be. But no, people don't come up to me in the street and hit me in the teeth. You'll be amazed how many people come up to me and say, hello, how are you? Nice to see you. But they never smack me in the teeth. I think you must be confusing me with someone else. So there we go. So not all of my messages are nice messages. Sometimes I get a little bit of hate coming through on my comments. But thank you very much. Most of the comments that appear on my videos are nice comments, so that's okay. Also, Belarusia is here. Hello, Mr. Duncan and classmates. Hello to you as well. I am feeling all right today. I'm not too bad, thank you. A little tired, but that's okay. I did a lot of things yesterday. We were very busy, and also I was very busy this morning doing all sorts of things. Sunday is often a very busy day. Lovely, lovely view. Thank you, sweetness. Yes, it's lovely today. The sun is out and it feels very autumnal. It's quite chilly here in the UK. Guma says, hi, Mr. Duncan. Here in Cesaro from Mexico. Oh, okay. A big hello to Mexico. I know that I do get quite a few viewers and quite a few people watching my video lessons in Mexico. So good. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. The class is a little bit empty today. Is it really, Pedro? Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. Maybe some people are late. Maybe that's the reason why. Julia, the view is awesome. Autumn is lovely in England. Yes, I think so. I agree with you. I think of all the seasons that I like, I think autumn is my most favourite because of all of the wonderful colour. In Turkey, unfortunately, we will not change the clocks. The sun will rise at 8 a.m. Thank you, Smay Buzzcourt. Thank you very much for that. Rita, good morning, Mr. Duncan. Today in Brazil, it is a very special day. The elections for the new president is taking place. Yes, a very important day in Brazil at the moment because they are voting for a new president. The women of the country are fighting for their rights, as they should, of course. Sweetness Mitra. Thank you, Duncan. I'm fine. I hope you are okay. Yes, I'm super duper. Hello, Mr. Duncan from Switzerland. Thank you, Mr. Bruno. Oh, where are you watching at the moment, Mr. Bruno? I don't think I've seen you here before. Is it your first time? Pedro also mentions the election taking place in Brazil at the moment. Yes, a big day for those watching in Brazil. Have you voted yet? I suppose at the moment it's very early in the morning. I always feel great attraction for your English classes. I eagerly wait for the classes. The teacher who takes the class makes the lesson interesting. I enjoy the class because of his presentation. Thank you, Vinamra. Thank you very much for that. How nice. Wow, that's a lovely comment. And of course, you are more than welcome to send your comments on the live chat today. Also, we have Palmyra. Hello today to you. I have no idea how to be first on the live chat. Can I just give you a tip? Can I give you a good tip? If you want to be first on the live chat, you have to be very fast with your finger. So when you click the button, you have to be very quick. You have to beat all the rest. You do. So it's all about having very quick fingers. Another look at the live chat. Mr. Duncan, when will you visit Indonesia? Thank you, Nani, for that. And can I say a big hello to everyone watching in Indonesia? Some terrible pictures coming through on the news at the moment of the devastating earthquake and also tsunami that took place there last week. Mr. Duncan, smack is the sound of a kiss. Well, yes, smack can mean many things. So smack can be a loud kiss, or smack can mean punch or hit. So if you hit someone, we can say that you smack them. You smack them. You might smack them in the face or in the teeth. And of course, as you just said, smack can also mean a big wet kiss. Hello, Alonzo, and also hello to Michelle and also Wilson. Hello, Wilson. I ate fleas. Can you talk to us like a posh guy? Do you mean me? Oh, okay then, maybe later. Yes, I already voted. This is the first thing that I did today. So Pedro has already voted, but please don't tell us who you voted for, because it's always a kind of private thing, I always think. People always ask me, who do I vote for? I'm often asked, Mr. Duncan, did you vote for Brexit or did you vote against Brexit? I get asked that one quite a few times, to be honest. I am getting like I fall more and more. Apparently, I'm starting to grow old. When you say fall, do you mean fail? I'm not sure if you mean fail or fall. Thank you very much for that, though. Do you know anyone who is overweight? Maybe you are a little overweight yourself. I know I am. I have been putting a lot of weight on recently. I have a very big stomach, and I'm determined to lose that stomach over the next few weeks. Very, very sure of that. I'm very sure of that. Shall we take a look at one of my full English lessons? Yes. Just as the screen goes wrong. let's have a look at one of my full English lessons. That sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? Come on, what's happening? Can we have control of my computer back, please? Thank you very much. Yes, let's have a look at one of my full English lessons. And this is a lesson that is all about attention span. Do you have a short attention span? How long can you watch something? How long can you sit in front of something? How long can you watch my live stream? Do you have a long attention span, or do you have a short attention span?
It would appear that more and more people are unable to concentrate for long periods of time due to them having short attention spans. It's time to take a look at another buzzword. A buzzword is a sentence or word that is in common use during a certain time, or is seen as being popular. Today's buzzword is attention span. This phrase relates to the amount of time a person can concentrate on one thing. This can relate to a task or an activity. A person's attention span is measured by how long they can concentrate on doing one thing. We often talk about the short attention span of young people. The various attractions and distractions that exist nowadays has led to a belief that people are beginning to develop short attention spans. The advent of instant digital media and online streaming allows people to view many things within a short space of time. It would appear that these days people grow bored easily, as more choices means that they can swap and change what they are watching in a more convenient way. The term short attention span highlights the inability to concentrate on just one thing. It would appear that more and more people are unable to concentrate for long periods of time due to having short attention spans.
What about you? Do you have a short attention span or a long one? How long can you watch my live English lessons for? Here we go. It's Sunday afternoon. It is the 7th of October. I haven't even mentioned that there is a new month. Yes, we are now into October. Of course, at the end of this month, I will be celebrating another milestone of my YouTube activity. I will be celebrating my 12th year on YouTube. I know it seems unbelievable because we see a lot of people now on YouTube who have been on for 3 years or 4 years, and they get a lot of publicity and people talk about them, but many people now forget all about the YouTube publishers like me who have been on for many years. So I started doing this way back in 2006, and this year it will be my 12th year on YouTube making videos, which is an interesting thing because I want to show you something now. This is one of the first videos that I made after returning to England, because we are talking about something very interesting today. We're talking about being fat or overweight? Mr. Steve will be here in a few moments to talk about the same subject, and also words connected to. Oh, thank you, Steve. Did you see Steve then? He just came onto the camera. So, are you fat? Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you fat? Are you overweight? Maybe that seems like a very personal question to ask, but these days it seems that everybody is talking about weight. Am I too fat? Am I overweight? Am I unhealthy? These are the questions that many people find themselves asking, especially in the Western world. Since returning to England from China, I've noticed that people in the UK tend to have a very bad diet. Fatty foods, snack foods, crisps, biscuits, chocolate. Many people seem to enjoy eating this type of food, me included. Since arriving back in the UK, I have managed to gain 2 stone in weight. During my time in China, I weighed around 9.5 stone. Now I weigh 11.5 stone. And that is since coming back to England. I've noticed that the things I eat here in England are more unhealthy because it's easier to buy these things. And we have supermarkets nowadays here in the UK, huge supermarkets. And inside there is a multitude of choice when it comes to eating. There are many different types of food. Vegetables are available in supermarkets, but if you look around you will see that the vegetables are very much outnumbered by all the instant snack foods that are now available. It's very interesting when I look around, if I walk around the street. Every day I seem to see overweight people, people who are carrying too much weight, and yet people are still getting fatter. Even though we are quite well educated and we are told constantly about the dangers of overeating. Another interesting thing that's happened this year is the ban on smoking in public places in the UK. It's now illegal to smoke within a public place, such as a bar, a restaurant, on a bus, in a lift. So people are now beginning to smoke less, but it seems as if they're filling that gap with food. So instead of smoking themselves to death, they're now eating themselves to death. I think these days television provides a good outlet for putting across a message about staying healthy. But television also gives across a mixed message. We have programs like this, clearly promoting a healthy lifestyle. But in between the programs we have commercials advertising products such as snack foods, for example crisps and chocolate, which contribute towards the problem of obesity. So what is going on? Would you describe yourself as healthy? Would you describe yourself as a person who is healthy, a person who takes exercise? Would you describe yourself as a person who is health conscious? Or would you say that you are lazy? Would you say that you eat too much? I'm guessing most of your answers would point towards the latter. So what can we do? I don't know. I have no idea. But there's one thing I do know. I'm going to try and take better care of myself. Another interesting fact is the way attitude towards obesity has changed over the years. During the 18th century, here in England, it was considered fashionable to be overweight. Here in England, we considered being overweight a sign of wealth. But nowadays, of course, we look at being obese as a sign of poverty, as a sign of a person who doesn't take care of themselves and may be lazy. So I think here in the UK we have come forward a little, but not very far. As I walk around the streets here in England, I can still see many people who are not only fat, but also people who are getting fatter. Clearly the message is not getting across. So what can we do? I have no idea. And between you and me, I don't even think the government know what to do. I guess the simple advice would be the advice that people always give. Take regular exercise. Eat a healthy diet. Drink less. And if you do smoke, try to give it up. This is Mr. Duncan in England saying stay healthy and bye for now.
It's a glorious day here in the UK, and as if by proving it with this lovely live image. So this is a live view now, looking out of my studio window. You can see everything is looking very autumnal at the moment. And let's have another view, looking a little bit nearer, and look, yes, the leaves are all changing. It is official. Autumn has arrived. And here we go. Talking of arrivals, here is someone else who's just arrived in the studio. You may have seen his arm. Well, now here is the rest of him. It's Mr. Steve.
Hello to everybody. Hello, Mr. Duncan. I haven't done anything yet. You keep clapping me every time I come on, and I haven't done anything yet.
I'm very aware that I've got something on my face. It looks as if there is something on my face, but I tell you what happened yesterday. I actually cut myself shaving. I was shaving very quickly yesterday, and I've actually cut my face. So for those who are wondering what this is, it isn't Mr. Steve. He hasn't been punching me in the face.
I've been tempted.
It's very tempted, but this, for those wondering what this is actually a little scratch from yesterday when I was shaving.
You sure it's not chocolate?
It's definitely not chocolate.
A little piece of chocolate left on your chin.
I tried to wipe it off, but all it happened is it started to bleed. So it's definitely not that.
We don't want blood in the studio, Mr. Duncan.
So here we go. We're talking about weight today. Now, did you see the video just?
I did. I saw a little bit of it.
And also, did you see the video as well?
Oh.
That was made 10 years ago. That is 10 years ago. In fact, it's not 10 years ago. That is 11 years ago, because that was made in 2007, not long after coming back from China. So that video you've just watched is actually 11 years old.
You look like you just got off the plane.
Yes. I was looking a little bit rough. Let's have another look at that. Let's see if we can get a little bit of that up on the screen, just to see what I actually look like.
You look like you either just stepped off a long haul flight, or you just got out of bed.
Let's have a look. So there I am. Oh dear. Yes, I see what you mean.
You've got very big sideburns.
Well, you know 11 years ago my hair was not grey. So my hair has gone quite white and grey now. But there I am, 11 years ago. So that was one of my very
early YouTube videos after returning from China, so just after moving back to the UK. And yes, I do look younger,
And slimmer,
very slim there.
because you'd been starving yourself, doing lots of exercise in China.
So that's me 11 years ago.
You look very scruffy, Mr. Duncan.
I look very untidy, but also very young. You see, when you're young, you can actually get away with looking scruffy. So if you look a little bit scruffy or a little bit untidy when you're young, it doesn't really matter, especially nowadays, because you see lots of young people with beards and long hair, and sometimes their clothes are torn. It doesn't matter because it's fashionable. But if you dress like that, and if you appear like that when you're older, you just look like a tramp.
Yes, because when a man gets older, his beard turns grey, and you can't have unkempt hair,
You can't.
a grey beard, and you just look, it ages you
Yeah.
straight away.
You can come over here a bit, Steve.
Okay, do you want me to? Right,
Yeah, don't be
okay.
shy.
You always say that. I'm not shy. I'm not shy. I'll go anywhere, Mr. Duncan. You know me.
Yes, we've noticed. We've noticed that. So a couple of things we're talking about today. Being fat. So I'm going to try and
Being fat.
being fat. Well, I'm a little fat. You keep mentioning
Well,
it.
let's say it's a bit unkind to use the word fat.
Okay, then. So what are the other words?
Overweight.
You can say overweight.
Overweight.
A person can be overweight or fat.
Fat is almost it's a nasty word. If you say to someone, "You're fat,"
But you know there are many uses of the word fat in English.
I know that.
And we are going to take a look at those in a few moments. But I know what you want to do, Steve.
What's that?
I know what you want to do.
Eat some chocolate.
No, you want to look
Oh, the live chat.
at, you want to look at the live chat, don't you?
The live fat. It
Yes.
sounds very much like the live chat.
The live chat. Not the
Yes.
live. Well, the live fat is my stomach, so maybe that's the live fat.
Are you going to? You're going to make a bit of a pledge today, aren't you, Mr. Duncan?
I've already done that.
Oh
Yes. Didn't you watch me?
no, I was preparing for this lesson by looking up examples of the word fat
I
or
did-
words with fat, phrases with fat in it.
I do like the fact that Steve doesn't watch the live stream.
Well, I'm usually working beforehand. Pedro wants to know, where am I? I think he means, where's my next landmark? Where am I? What country am I going to appear in?
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that today.
We're not doing that today.
Not today.
Not
no.
today.
We didn't have time.
Not today. Steve is busy. I'm busy.
We didn't have time today, I'm afraid. But next week, I promise, I will be either in another part of England or either in another part of the world.
Or even the UK. You could be anywhere in the
I could
UK.
be anywhere in the UK.
You could be anywhere in the world.
And I probably will be, because, we couldn't afford it this week. We couldn't afford it this week because, as you know, I went to Russia one week, then I went to America, and then the budget was cut and I had to go to somewhere in the UK, which
That's
was Stratford-upon-Avon. I went last week.
You went to Shakespeare's birthplace last week.
And this week, I only had enough money to get out of bed and stand here with you.
So this week's location is here
It's here.
in the studio.
This is the location.
This is it. This is the location. Live from Much Wenlock. Mr. Steve is definitely here, and so am I, and so are you as well on the live chat.
Apparently, go on.
Apparently today in Brazil it is the election day.
Election day in Brazil.
They are voting for a new president.
Wow, how that must be quite exciting. I wonder who might get in and what the alternatives are and what people in Brazil will think.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to any of those questions. So
Oh, look, I've been described as looking fit.
Saturino
Oh.
says when I was in the USA they would call a fat person fatso or tub.
Yes, I think political correctness is I think it's prevalent everywhere now, but I think Europe and the UK is probably still I want to use the word ahead, but that sounds like a positive thing. I think we're more conscious of political correctness.
Well, I think one of the problems
this
is now.
country, but I know
Can I
it's
just say something? I think
when I've
political.
finished.
I think political correctness is a load of crap. I think it is, because the problem is, and here's just what I think about this. One thing that is offensive to a group of people might not be offensive to a lot of other people. So that's the way I view political correctness. So sometimes I think we can be too sensitive about everything, and then we become just on edge all the time, expecting to be offended at any moment, when in fact, if you walk around the general public, if you talk to people on a day-to-day basis, no one really cares about political correctness. They will just say what they think. But they will often say, oh, I shouldn't say that nowadays because of political correctness. So they will actually say something that isn't politically correct, and then they will say, I shouldn't say that because it's not politically correct. So, but they will still say the thing. So they say the offensive thing, or the thing that might be offensive.
Yes.
And then they correct themselves. So they are still saying it. It's not stopping them from saying it or thinking it. I mean, how far do you go? How far do you go with controlling what people say and think? I mean, maybe in the future we will all have a chip inside our brains. And if we think something that we shouldn't, if we think something that is politically incorrect, maybe our brains will explode, our heads will blow up. So all around, people will just be exploding all the time, because it's very hard to control what people think. It's very hard to control what people say. So I think you either have freedom or you don't have freedom. You have no freedom. You can't have freedom on everyone's terms. So you can't say, oh, you're free to say that, you're free to do that, but you're not free to say that, you're not free to do that. You either have freedom or you don't have freedom. There it is. So you give it or you take it away. There is no in between. And I think that's the general view of most people in their day-to-day lives when you walk around in the public. So when you walk in public places, it doesn't really matter because people aren't getting upset. They only get upset on Twitter or Facebook or on the news because they have nothing to report. So they have to fill all of that time with lots of stories. And there is a good way of getting news stories, and that's to get people offended. It's a great story. You will see this all the time now on the news. Everyone is offended. I'm offended by that song. I'm offended by that comedian. I'm offended by the way you looked at me. I'm offended by the words you used. Everybody, just calm down.
Have you finished?
I finished.
You went off on a bit of a rant there, Mr. Duncan.
It wasn't a rant.
It was a rant.
It was not a rant. I just think sometimes we are just too sensitive, and teachers now are being censored. So even in this country now, did you know that now teachers are now prevented from talking about politics in the classroom? They've actually been told they can no longer talk about things like Brexit or politics in the classroom.
I didn't know that.
Yes, for fear of upsetting one of the children or one of the parents of the children. It's crazy. We've gone crazy.
Well, it is silly to take it to the extent that you're worried about how everybody will respond. That as long as you're not offensive, I think nowadays people have forgotten what the difference between offensive is and just having debate.
Yes, that's it.
Because, being offensive is calling someone a name.
Yes. I wonder what you're going to say then.
Yes, I wasn't going to say anything. There are certain words that we can't use. There are certain... You don't want to be literally offensive, but I think if it goes too far and then you can't have any debate or conversation about something. Is that true? Teachers can't discuss Brexit in a classroom?
because children are going home with thoughts in their head. Oh my goodness, we can't have children with thoughts in their heads. That can't be happening. No, stop it. Stop letting children learn about politics and opinions. And that's what's happening now. So even the teachers are being told, don't do this, don't say that, don't say this in the classroom, don't look at that child in that way. It's crazy. It's crazy. Sometimes you have to let children learn about things and listen to what is being said, whatever the subject and however bad it might be. For example, in history, you will learn all about the dark times of humanity and the lighter times as well. And the same thing goes with all the other subjects as well. So I think it is healthy to talk about the things that are unacceptable. It is healthy to talk about the things that probably shouldn't be talked about all the time. And that's it. It's healthy. It's part of being human, I think. There you go.
Anyway, fatso.
Yes. Well, it doesn't bother me. See, I've got a belly. I've got a big belly, and
well, it's not that big.
Steve calls me fatty or fatso, and I don't care. It's just a word.
You should care because I'm trying to shock you into losing weight.
Yes, that's fine. Well, I am shocked. Well, that's what I'm doing today. I've already said that. I've said that I'm going to try and lose some weight before the end of the year. So it's my reverse New Year's resolution.
People are saying actually what they're doing to keep fit. A lot of people are taking lots of exercise. Somebody said that they were walking 10,000 steps a week and all sorts of things. So people are doing a lot, it seems, to stay fit and to lose weight.
I've just noticed Jeff is here.
Hello, Jeff.
We missed you last week.
18 stone? Are you really? You don't look it from the photo.
You don't look 18 stone on your photograph.
He. I think he's joking.
Oh, maybe you're joking. I don't know.
We don't know.
But I think this is something. Again, this is something that people don't want to talk about. But I think we should talk about it. I'm talking about my own personal experience of having a little bit of extra weight, and I don't like it. I've realised now that it's starting to affect my health. And that scares me. That really does scare me. And so I'm going to do something about it. That is it.
What are you going to do, Mr. Duncan?
Well, I'm going to stop eating junk, eating snacks when I'm on my computer, when I'm editing. I'm going to stop doing that. So I'm always nibbling, eating things. So that's what I'm going...
Unhealthy things, I would say.
Yes, of course. Of course it's unhealthy. All snacks are unhealthy. People don't have snacks and then they just eat a carrot. No one does that. No one has a snack and they eat a carrot or a handful of peas. It's always junk.
Connell has lost 10 kilograms in 2 months, and she's very happy, which shows congratulations.
Yes, that's great. You can do it.
Yes, and you don't have to make big changes to your life, because most people put on weight, apparently, if you just overeat by just 200 or 300 calories a day.
Yes.
So that's like a couple of biscuits or something, or a couple of or a glass of wine or something like that. But it just is a very gradual thing, and then you get used to each stage, and then you might think, oh, these trousers are a bit tight, and next time you buy a new pair of trousers, you just get the next size up, and that feels comfortable, and then a year later that feels a bit tight, and you go and buy another pair, and it doesn't seem like you're putting on much weight, but if you get on the scales, you obviously are. But it's realising and trying to stop it before it gets too far. And you only have to make small changes, because they say you shouldn't. It's very unhealthy to lose a lot of weight quickly. So like Connell is just going for a walk, maybe made a few minor adjustments to her diet, and is gradually just losing a little bit of weight. And I think that's the best way to do it.
Yes.
Because if you go on a crash diet and lose a lot of weight, you might feel better. You might do it because you're going on holiday and you might want to look better. So you think, I want to lose a stone.
Well, that comes down.
Holiday.
That's all about motivation, because you normally have to have a goal. So it's like doing anything in life. If you want to do something, you have to have a goal ahead of you. You have to have something that you're reaching towards. So
Then it becomes unhealthy.
yes,
Because then you lose too much weight.
that's it. But
too quickly.
yes, moderation is everything. So you eat in moderation, and also you lose weight in moderation. Don't do it too quickly. So I'm planning to do this over the next 3 months. Before the end of the year, I want to lose about 1.5 stone. I think I can do that, but it means
About £20.
It means making some sacrifices. So no junk, less rubbish food, less junk food, and more exercise. And I think that's it. I think that's it, really. You don't need miracles.
About £20. That's about 10, 11 kilograms, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds about that. That's a reasonable goal. It's a smart goal. It is measurable. It's achievable.
Yes.
You put a time on there as well, in which you want to achieve it. If you said, "I want to lose 2 stone in a month," I would have said that was unrealistic. But no, fine, no, well done, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, I'm
You've said
determined.
it, and you're using actually what you're also doing is you're telling everybody that you're going to do it.
Yes.
So people will ask you, and you'll feel a failure, or it'll spur you on.
What?
It'll spur you on. It'll
Yes.
give you energy and commitment.
Well, I'm just being
your goal.
What I'm doing is being honest and open, which is what I want to do. I want to be honest and open. So if there are things I want to talk about, and that's the whole point of this. So when we talk about the English language, we're talking about expressing yourself, and this is something I want to express to you. So you can listen, and also it gives me a little bit of motivation, because now I know that you will be asking, Mr. Duncan, how is your diet? Have you lost any weight? And that will give me some encouragement.
What if I was to say to you, Mr. Duncan, that every week we have to have a weigh-in?
Well, I don't mind being weighed every week, but maybe there could be some more motivation. Maybe I thought, you know what I thought Steve was going to say? I thought he was going to say for every pound that you lose, all of your viewers have to give you $1. I thought that's what you were going to say, but no, nothing like that. Don't worry.
That's an idea. But we could weigh you every week if you really want to do this. It's a bit like Weight Watchers, isn't it? There's a company in the UK, I don't know whether it's worldwide, called Weight Watchers, and people go to sort of classes every week, and
Yes.
they get weighed, and I don't actually know much about it. but
Basically,
basically
it's a slimming group.
it's a slimming group, and you go there every week, and that's supposed to motivate you, because you go, somebody weighs you, and if you haven't lost any weight, then you're going to feel a bit bad.
Yes.
I don't know what else they do.
Well, there's lots of these people. I mean, I don't want to mention one company because that's not fair, but there are lots and lots of other companies as well around. So they're just one of them. But there's others. Slimming World is another one. So there are lots of these people that try to motivate you. Of course, they also take lots of money from you as well. But you don't really need to do that. Simple things: eat less, eat healthily, more exercise. There you go. Bang, you lose weight.
Some people want a bit of support, a
Yes.
bit of moral support from other people.
Well, that's why I'm doing this today. So from my point of view, I'm using this. But you can use your friends to give you encouragement, or maybe your family members. So there is always someone you can look at and say, don't let me slip. Don't let me fall into my bad habits. And that's it. So yes, it's good to have another person, but that's just my way of doing it. So everyone has their own different way. Christina asks, do you eat at breakfast? I normally have a small meal at the start of the day, but for the rest of the day, I sometimes have snacks. So I start off healthy, but as the day goes on, sometimes when I'm working, or if I'm sort of just thinking, shall I just have something to eat? And I can't be bothered to cook. I'm being very honest here. And I just go and get a piece of bread, or put some butter on some bread with some cheese. And that's it. That's my meal. But it's not very healthy.
It's more difficult when you're at home.
Yes.
You see, I'm out and about working.
Yes.
And the other thing is, because your work is based at home.
Yes.
You don't get much chance to sort of use calories walking to and fro work,
Yes, but
walking
it-
around the office,
Yes,
that
but
sort of thing.
that's it. But that would be no different if I worked 20 miles away in an office, because if I'm still sitting down, you're not getting so sedentary.
Yes.
So my job is a sort of sedentary job. I'm sort of sitting still.
But you do use quite a lot of calories getting ready in the morning, walk into your car, and a lot of people, if you've got, I remember when I used to work, I worked in a lab in a hospital
Yeah.
many years ago, and we were on our feet all day walking from one room to the other. We
Yes.
worked out, some of us, that we'd sort of walk 3 miles just walking around the lab all day,
Yes.
carrying things around. So, and that's obviously using up calories. So yes, but the other downside, of course, of working in an office is they often have there's a lot of access to chocolate and sweets and
Yes.
snacks and things like that.
That's
And
it.
people bring cakes in, and it's things.
Yes.
So you could actually be worse off because. Or no better off because
No.
people are constantly bringing high-calorie snacks
That's
in.
it. And of course, you're all in an enclosed space, and it's a social situation. So if you work with lots of other people, it's a social situation, which often means that large quantities of food will be consumed at some point. And that's it. So it's very hard. You have to have a lot of self-control and willpower. And this is something that I'm building up at the moment.
Gretel wants me to be your personal trainer.
I'm not sure about that. We did think about doing that today in the garden because it's lovely outside, but it's very cold. So we were going to go outside to do some exercises, but it's a little chilly.
The problem is yours and mine really, our weakness is sugar.
Ooh.
And the problem with sugar is it is addictive. They actually now think sugar is almost as addictive as like a hard drug, like
Anyway,
cocaine.
I think we're repeating what we said about 3 weeks ago, aren't we? Did we say
possibly.
this? Yeah.
So if you don't have it in the house, I find with sugar that if you have one biscuit, you can't have one biscuit. You've got to have 2 or 3. So if they're not in the house at all, and I think then you won't eat them. And I think you've got to treat yourself like once a week. So we like chocolate. So let's say on a Friday we will eat chocolate. We will
Yes.
buy chocolate, but just once a week. And we've done that before, and it worked.
Yes.
And then what happens is that you start. Well, I'll have it on Wednesday. So you start off having it on Friday, and you do it for a few weeks.
Yes.
And then when we're out, we'll just get a bar of chocolate. It won't
Yes.
matter once. And then, but I think you've got to stick rigidly to this
Well, of
routine.
course.
It becomes a habit, and
That's
then
it.
and then you know.
It's the willpower. It's the motivation, the willpower. It's like doing anything. You might even say it's the same as learning English. You start off with good intentions, you get yourself a big dictionary and lots of paper to write things down, and you say, I'm going to learn English. I'm determined.
MX25A says stop sugar, and
Yes.
you will lose a lot of weight.
Yes, that's it. Cut out the sugar. I know this. I'm very aware that sugar is part of the problem. Sugar and fat is part of the problem.
Yes.
We've had this conversation about a year ago, in fact.
Yes.
And a couple of years ago, I did lose a lot of weight. I was able to get into a very good routine where I was eating very healthily and getting tons of exercise. And I lost quite a lot of weight.
Every day you went for a walk.
But over the past 4 or 5 months, I have started putting on weight. Again, I have been getting a little fat.
Amtul doesn't eat chocolate because his or her dentist said, don't eat chocolate because, of course, it's bad for your teeth.
Yes.
Which we know because sugar is very, very bad for your teeth.
Yeah. Talking of teeth, by the way, I went to the dentist a few days ago, Steve, and the dentist was telling me some information, giving me some advice, in fact, about the best way to clean my teeth. Now, I like to use the old-fashioned toothbrush. This is actually my toothbrush that I use. It's pink. It looks very pink. I like my pink toothbrush. My dentist said that I should actually buy
A blue one.
an electric one. She said if you get an electric toothbrush, you will find that your teeth will be cleaned more thoroughly and more effectively. Now, I'm not sure about that. So what about you? Do you use an electric toothbrush, or do you use the old-fashioned toothbrush that you have to operate with your hand?
I think it's personal preference. I think each method is just as effective. I mean, if you don't use an electric toothbrush correctly, you won't clean your teeth properly. I used one for a while, but I found it. I mean, cleaning your teeth is quite a chore. It's boring and nobody likes doing it.
No one likes to clean their teeth.
But I found it even more boring with an electric toothbrush, because at least if you're doing it yourself, you've got something to do. Whereas if you just it was very boring with an electric, and it set all my teeth on edge as well.
The other thing as well, the other thing I noticed is the fact that they're very noisy.
They're noisy. You've got to keep charging them up.
Yeah, so they have batteries inside. You have to keep replacing the batteries.
It just became a bit of a ball ache.
So that's why I love my little toothbrush. I can just pick my toothbrush up and put a little bit of toothpaste and
it's exercise. If you're doing that, it's exercise. You're using calories. Not very many, of course, but there you go. You're going to give us a live demo of cleaning your teeth. I've got all these words about fat.
That's okay. We've got an hour. We've got a whole hour. How long can you watch the live stream for? Do you have a long attention span, or do you have a short attention span?
Wintomo says conventional toothbrush is better because you have more control. I think you do. It's if you do it properly, then a conventional toothbrush is just as good as an electric toothbrush.
Yes.
And I think you can overdo it with an electric toothbrush as well. I didn't like them.
Yes, there are other things that I use as well. So I don't just use my big toothbrush. I use other things as well that you can put in between your teeth. So I use those as well. But yes, I was very intrigued by my dentist's suggestion that I should get an electric toothbrush. But
maybe they are good for you, I don't know.
Back to our original topic. Jeff says, as you get older, you do put on weight. You are right, yes. Now, men and women, as they get older, their body shape will change, and quite often around the middle, the body shape will change, especially women. You will often notice a woman will change shape, and there are two types of female shape. There is what they call the apple shape, and what's the other one? The pear shape.
That's right.
So they are very different shapes as they get older. Now, sometimes it's very subtle, and sometimes it's very apparent. And men can have the same thing, especially around their middle, their stomach area. They can get something called middle age spread. Middle age spread. And I think that's what I've got. Maybe I've got a little bit of that. But Steve is older than me, and he doesn't have middle age spread. You have nothing. You have and can I just say this? Mr. Steve has an incredible body, whereas mine is all floppy and fat and droopy and wobbly.
Well, the thing is, you've got to, as you get older, it's not inevitable that you will put weight on. It's simple. It's a simple equation. If you eat more calories than you're using up, you will put on weight. It doesn't just happen because you get older.
Yes.
It happens because you're losing less calories and eating too much.
Bye, Pedro.
It's as simple as that. Where's Pedro going?
Pedro's going, bye-bye, Pedro.
Bye-bye. Yes, it's a simple equation. You can't put weight on unless you're having too many calories.
Yes.
You can't break the laws of physics.
No.
You can't eat the same amount. You can't eat lots of food. The reason you don't lose weight the reason you stay slim when you're younger is because you're probably eating as much as you did when you're older, but you were doing more exercise. and you were walking around more,
Yes.
or maybe you ate different types of food. And then when people get older, particularly if they become successful in their job, they've got more disposable income, so
Yes.
they start to buy wine, they go out for more drinks,
Yes,
they
more
go out for
meals.
more meals out, which are all high fat, calorific. If you cook the food yourself, it's probably far less calories in it than if you go to a restaurant. So you'll have a starter, you'll have a main course, and all the food in restaurants is high calorie.
Yes.
Because they want it to taste nice, so they
Well,
put lots of fat in it.
This is very interesting. Leading from that, in China when I was there, can you believe this? In China, if your child is fat, it is a good thing. Can you believe that? So if your child, or if you are older, of course, especially men, so if the men are a bit fat, a bit podgy, a bit plump, that's often a sign of a good life. Rather like it was here many, many years ago, about 300-400 years ago. Here, if you were big and fat, it meant you were wealthy and successful.
Yes.
It almost connects to the term fat cat, which means a successful person who runs a business. So maybe it's connected to that. So yes, in China, so if you were fat, it meant you were wealthy, you were successful.
That's because their economy is developing, and they're where we were sort of 50 years ago or something. So that's still a sign now. Being fat is still a sign of wealth, of
Yes.
success. Whereas in the Western world, here in England, everybody's got enough money to eat sufficient food.
Yes, it's strange.
To stay healthy. So it's now a sign of excess
Yes.
if you're overweight.
Well, it's a sign. Well, actually, it's worse than that. It's a sign of laziness. So when we see a fat person now, we just assume they are lazy, idle. They have no job and they do nothing.
Well-
So that's it. It's changed. So in the past, we thought that person would be wealthy. Oh, look at that! They're so big. They must have lots of money to eat. Now it's the opposite way round. We just see it all as a negative thing.
Yes, and it's still fat people, overweight people are still in comedy. They're still fair game for comedians to take the mickey out of, or
What do
to
you mean?
take the piss out of.
That's a lot of things you've just said there.
Yeah,
What do you
so-
mean fair game?
Well, it means it's still a subject that you can almost be offensive to fat people.
Well, they're
in
an easy
comedy.
Yes, it means they're an easy target.
Yes, that's right. Yes, exactly. So you can still take the mickey out of, or take the piss out of.
Yes, make fun of them.
Make fun of fat people in comedy. Comedians can still do that, and it's still an acceptable thing.
Yes.
I think eventually, talking about political correctness, you won't be able to make any fat jokes anymore because that will seem offensive.
Wow.
I think that's because now about half the population is classed as obese.
Yes.
I think it's at least a third, if not half the population is now actually classified as literally obese. So
Yes.
they're-
Well, in the United States, it's something like 1 in 3, 1 in 4 is now clinically obese.
I think it's about 1 in 3 here as well.
Yes. So, but the point I'm trying to make here, above all of this, is the fact that being overweight isn't good for your body. That's it. So really, from my point of view, it's not about vanity. It's not about shame. It's just about not dying when I'm 63 of a heart attack. So that's really. So I want to live a little bit longer. You see. So my motivation isn't frailty. It's about actually not wanting to drop dead of a heart attack or get diabetes. I mean, that's absolute epidemic now. There is an epidemic in this country of people with diabetes, and that's too much sugar. The body just eventually can't handle it, and you get all sorts of problems with your body. So I don't want these things to happen at all.
Right. So we'll have to have a weigh in, and then we'll do that after this lesson.
Yeah.
We'll publish it to all your YouTube viewers, and then next week we'll weigh you just before. And if you haven't lost weight, then yes, there's got to be a punishment, a forfeit.
Well,
if you don't lose weight.
Well, wait there a second. We've got to do this right. Well, first of all, we haven't actually done anything officially, so I think what we'll have to do is maybe next week we will actually weigh me on the scales.
Oh, I see.
So we'll have to start next. It has to be official.
Are you giving yourself another week to gorge as much chocolate as you can?
You've got to. Well, no, of course not.
Well, I'm joking.
But I haven't got any scales. You've got to.
We've got some upstairs.
Yes, I know, but oh my goodness, this is very difficult today, by the way. But you have to do it officially. You have to get on the scales. You have to show the scales. You have to show the weight, all at the same time to make it official, or else people will just think you're making it up. Because nowadays no one trusts anything. Maybe people don't even trust us. Maybe they think we're a couple of professional actors just pretending to be like this. Trust me, we're not. This is what we're like in real life. So, yes, I think we'll do that next week officially.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Fine, yes. If that's the way you want to do it, that's absolutely fine.
It is. I want it to all be above board. I want everyone to go, that's really happening.
You can eat very cheaply at home. If you cook large batches of food and then freeze it, keep it in the fridge, you can cook very cheaply at home. A lot of people do go to junk food restaurants, but I mean, it's quite expensive now. If you go to a McDonald's, for example, and get a burger and chips, I mean, you're looking at £5, aren't you? And by the time you've had a burger, chips, and something to eat, I bet you're looking at £7.
Yes. Well, this is one
you
of.
can cook a whole meal at home for far less than that.
Yeah, but the other thing is, of course, is that one of the myths about junk food is that it's cheaper than going out and buying lots of vegetables. They're saying that the opposite is true. That they're saying vegetables are too expensive. I can't afford to keep buying health food because it's always expensive. And yes,
it's rubbish.
What you've just said is true. Junk food is also quite expensive, especially if you are addicted to it, because you will spend more and more money on it.
Well, rice and lentils, two very healthy foods combined together, with a few spices and some sweet potatoes. I mean, that's incredibly cheap. Yes. How much is a bag of rice? You can live on a bag of rice for an entire week. It only costs you about £2. And lentils are very cheap. I mean, certain cuts of meat. You can do a nice big stew. You can put about £3 worth of meat. It probably only costs you about £5 for the meat to put in a stew. And you've got that. That's 2 days worth.
2 days.
There's no way. Yeah. There's no way it's cheaper to eat out in a junk food restaurant than it is to eat at home. The thing is, people are just lazy.
Yes.
They don't want to sit. They don't want to cook the food.
That's the point I made earlier, and that is the impression that people get when they see someone who is overweight or they're eating burgers and rubbish all the time. We see that now as a lazy person, a lazy attitude.
It used to be just like a treat. Now and then you would go out. Oh, let's go and have a burger. So you might have one. What are you pointing at?
The live chat.
What about it?
It's busy.
Okay. I was talking then, but never mind. This finger comes across. So you used to go out just occasionally. So you'd have a burger and chips maybe once every 2 or 3 months as a sort of a guilty treat. That's how it should be seen, as something that's just done very occasionally, like a bar of chocolate. You should just have it once a week, or a burger once a month or something, and the rest of the time eat healthily. But now, because it's everywhere and everybody is wealthier now than they were 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Yes.
There is more money in society.
Yes.
If people can afford to go out and have, a burger every day, they're not short of money.
Yes. I suppose one of the things is getting your priorities right.
It's excuses. People make excuses, so they'll come up with a phrase. Oh, it's cheaper to eat junk food, and it is to. That's just something they've heard in a newspaper somewhere,
Yes.
or on the radio, and they don't actually examine it. I mean, you can cook incredibly cheaply at
Yes.
home, very nutritious meals.
Yes. Well, vegetables, fruit, vegetables. These are things that literally grow in the ground or above the ground. You pick them and then you eat them. Because Tom,
What vegetables are?
no, I'm on about healthy food.
Yes.
That's a good guide.
Potatoes. Look how cheap potatoes
Yes.
are.
Well, there you
Incredibly
go.
healthy food,
So
potatoes.
that's the point I was making. So healthy food, it's very easy to recognise healthy food. If it's grown on a tree or in the ground or above the ground, it's probably healthy for you. It's probably good for you. If it's made in a big factory with chemicals and colours and preservatives, there's a pretty good chance it's not good for you. It's not rocket science.
At the end of the day, you make your own choice. It's your life. Nobody should tell you what to do.
Yes, but I don't want my students all dropping dead from heart attacks.
I know, but I don't. Yes,
and I don't want to either.
But anyway, yeah. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
there's a phrase that it shouldn't be used really very much. But when all else is talked about, it is up to the individual people to decide what they're going to do with their lives.
Yes. Oh, I
Some
don't.
people want to eat burgers every day and put on weight. Fine.
I have no problem
It's
with
not
people.
For
I
us
have
to say.
I have no problem with people stuffing food into their mouths until they go pop. It's no problem. But of course, the problem is people don't go pop. They just become very sick, and then they have to go to hospital, and then they have to stay in hospital, and then they have to have lots of treatment
And then
in
there's a
hospital.
big drain on the health resources.
And then your health service will suffer because you have to throw millions and millions and millions of pounds into taking care of people who are fat. And that's
or
it.
lead unhealthy. Well, I mean, a while ago, there are doctors every now and then this subject comes up that because in this country we've got free health care,
Yes.
the National Health Service, you pay for it in your wages, a certain proportion comes out and goes towards health care. So you go to the doctor, it's free. You go to the hospital, it's free. You don't have to pay.
I'm being blamed.
But,
Sorry, I'm seeing things on the live chat that are making me laugh so much. Olga is blaming us or blaming me for her eating habits. Look at that. Can I just show you this?
Oh, I see.
I've just seen this. This is brilliant. Mr. Duncan, during previous lessons, you often ate something and made me eat more than I'm supposed to those days. But now you speak about obesity. It's not fair. Well, I'm kind of learning my lesson.
yes.
But I don't want people to start saying that, Mr. Duncan, you made me fat because you were eating pizza on your live lesson a few weeks ago.
It's not our fault that you're weak-minded.
Don't blame us.
We're joking.
But,
We're joking.
But at least I'm learning my lesson, and I'm going to do my best to lose a few pounds here and there, maybe 1.5 stone. I hope I can lose a little bit weight before the end of the year, not after the new year. So I'm doing my New Year resolution before the year ends. I know it's very weird, but there you go.
I was saying something before you rudely interrupted me, but I can't remember what it was now.
Stanislaw says, today I had chicken casserole.
Delicious. Well, chicken isn't expensive.
My personal chef came to my flat. You have a personal chef to cook for my mother and me, and it was delicious.
A personal chef.
You have a personal chef. Can I just say I'm incredibly jealous.
And had a mango for dessert. So there's something very, very healthy.
Mango. I love mango. That sounds fantastic.
Who is your personal chef, Stanislaw? We want to know.
I can't believe it.
And are you so wealthy you can afford to have a chef come to your house and cook for you?
I think maybe Stanislaw might be a millionaire. Wow, incredible.
Yes, Tomek's talking about pesticides. Yes, there's a subject I like to talk about.
Yes, we talked about this a few weeks ago as well. But you can get organic food, and yes, it does cost a little bit more, but it's only a few pence. It's not like it. You know, an organic carrot doesn't cost $1,000.
Actually, but I mean, certain vegetables, I don't think it really matters that much, because as long as you wash or peel the fruit, you've got rid of most of the pesticides anyway. They've shown that now. So you don't have to worry about organic food, I don't think, too much, because as long as you wash the fruit, peel it, then pretty much you get rid of most of it that way, I believe. Can I talk about the words that I've spent a long time preparing today?
You have been a busy bee today, I must admit. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's just get the live chat reset. Okay, that's pretty good.
Living in Morocco.
Mr. Duncan, in previous lessons, you always decide to cook the pizza that involves the baked beans, which wasn't very good. And this was the result. Well, of course, yes. Baked beans are quite good for you. So they're actually not too bad if you eat a lot of baked beans, because they've got a lot of fibre, a bit of protein, a bit of this and that. And also they make you go to the toilet a lot. So you always have very regular poops. So yes, baked beans are pretty good, actually. I love baked beans.
Ah, there it is. Chef Angelo comes every weekend to cook for me, because from Monday to Friday, Chef Rita cooks for me. Oh, so you've got two chefs.
This is even worse. You have two chefs that come to your house to cook for you.
Angelo at the weekend, and then Rita during the week.
Yeah, look, I was shaking my fist earlier, but now I have to shake both fists.
Is it nice food?
I'm so jealous.
Who's the best chef? Is it Chef Angelo or Chef Rita?
I have a feeling it's going to be Chef Angelo, because I don't know why. His name, he sounds like a really good chef. If you're called Angelo and you're a chef, then you're probably a very good chef.
Vlad says drinking lots of water is good for losing weight. Yes, because it sort of fills you up, so you probably don't feel like eating as much. You've got to be careful about not eating too much water, because you can die from that, apparently.
Yes, too much water and you will...
I think that's quite old, that live chat that you're showing there.
No, this is now.
No, I think you need to go down, scroll down a bit.
No, that's it. That's live now.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that's the live chat, Steve.
Fine, it's all right. I thought I saw some of those some time ago. I thought I saw unless Vlad has repeated
maybe
about drinking water.
So drinking lots of water is good for losing weight. Yes, it's also good for your body as well, because you can flush all of the poisons and all of the horrible things out. So, Mr. Steve, you are desperately waiting.
I sort of can't be bothered now.
Okay. Bye everybody, bye. So let's have a look. We've got lots of words, so many words and phrases to do with fat.
We hope we don't offend people with some of these.
I don't think anyone is going to be offended by this, because these are just sentences and words.
Chew the fat.
They're not guns and bullets.
If you chew the fat.
Just words.
If you chew the fat, will you shut up and let me speak, Mr. Duncan? You've done your fair share of talking since I've been on, and now it's my turn.
Okay, then.
Chew the fat. It means to have friendly conversation, banter, which is friendly conversation with a friend or friends, informal conversation about things that you've got in common. It's just friendly. You're not going to have arguments about politics or religion. You're just chewing the fat. So you're talking about, quite often it's friends that went to college together. They've known each other for a long time, and they're just talking about subjects that they often talk about when they get together.
Did they drink beer?
They might have done. So, for example, I met with my old school friend the other night, and we chewed the fat for hours. So it's not really gossiping. It's sort of, you're talking about subjects from the past, subjects that you're all familiar with, just maybe talking about events that have happened that you want to share opinions about together. They think the phrase comes from sailors. So they were at sea for a long time, and there were quite often times when they got nothing to do, and a source of high calorific food that they would eat would be fat,
Oh.
and they would just sort of chew on fat, and they would sit there talking to each other, having conversation, just talking about everyday subjects, trying to, if you've got things on your mind, you chew the fat with your friends. It just means you're going over subjects in order to try and come to terms with things, and sort of, yeah, you're chewing the fat. They think it could have come from that, but it also could have come from the fact that when people are talking a lot from a distance, it looks like they're just chewing on something.
Yes.
So, friendly conversation, talking about everyday subjects, no arguments, chewing the fat.
Yes. So maybe you meet up with a friend and you sit and chat, and we could say that you are both chewing the fat.
You could be talking about, for example, Brett Kavanaugh was in the news a lot in America. I don't know whether you had much news coverage of that. We had loads of it. And you could sit and chat to each other about that. You could chew the fat over that.
Yes.
What's your opinion on that? What do you think of that? But you're just it's friendly conversation.
In the live chat, we chew the fat.
Yeah, exactly.
Well
We
done.
do.
Thank you, Rosa. Rosa said, in the live chat, do we chew the fat? We do.
Yes.
When we have a chat, we chew the fat.
Particularly when we've picked a subject like weight loss. So we're all putting our opinions forward, and we're mentioning what we think about that subject and talking about it together in a friendly way. We're not getting into arguments
No.
at all.
Friendly chit-chat.
Friendly chit-chat. Fat chance. Fat chance. This is a negative phrase, really, which is sort of anticipating failure in a way. It's used to describe the impossibility of something happening. It's used sarcastically. If you think that there is little or no chance of something happening, you will sarcastically say, it's used as a sort of interjection in a sentence. You will say, oh, there's fat chance of that happening. For example, you could say to somebody, are you going to buy a new car this year? And they might say, fat chance of that. I can barely afford to run the one I've got. But it's a sort of not nasty, but it's a sort of a negative phrase. It's implying that you're never going to be able to do this, or you sort of resigned yourself to something not happening. So your favourite football team, for example, they might never do particularly well. And somebody might say, oh, do you think your football team's going to win this year? And you sort of, fat chance of that, they're useless. But you carry on supporting them. It's a negative phrase. A sort of, a more sort of politically correct or friendlier phrase to use would be slim chance. There's a slim chance of something happening. There's a slim chance that Mr. Duncan will win the lottery this week. Or if you were saying it in a more negative way, there's a fat chance of winning the lottery.
Yes. So it can be used as a put down.
Yes, it can be used as a put down. Yes, it can be.
You might say, Mr. Duncan is going to lose weight. He wants to lose some weight. Fat
chance of that.
Fat chance. Fat chance.
Yes, it could be used as a put down.
No way will it happen. I
There we
doubt
go.
it. You are creating doubt by saying fat chance.
You've already mentioned this one, fat cat.
Oh, okay.
Fat cat, a successful, wealthy businessman. It's a sort of, I would say, almost a negative phrase, because a fat cat is somebody who's just like a cat, who's very satisfied, had a big meal. Fat cats are usually successful businessmen who've probably put on a bit of weight. They literally probably are fat. And they're always trying to help themselves to more wealth. So they might donate to a political party or to an organisation to help further their wealth and success. So it's sort of a selfish rich person in a way.
Yes, I think it also refers to the cat that's just eaten the cream off, or had a very lavish meal, and now it's just sleeping in the corner and not a care in the world.
Yes, yes, it's sort of a negative. If somebody was to describe you as a fat cat, you're successful, you're wealthy, but you're quite selfish about it. And you're trying to get richer and prevent other people becoming as well. It's a sort of a negative
good.
phrase.
I like that.
Full fat. If you say something is full fat, or if you say full fat milk, for example, that's milk that's got all the fat in it. It's not skimmed milk; is milk that's had the fat taken off it. So full fat milk is, or full fat cheese. That's obvious; it's got all the fat in it.
Yes.
But it's used in a way to describe something as having the maximum taste or flavour or power. So if you say somebody says to you, or I want a Coca-Cola. Oh, do you want the slimline version, or the sugar-free version? You might say, but no, I want the full-fat version. So you're not literally talking about fat. It's referring there to flavour. You want the maximum flavour version. Somebody might say, oh, I'm going to buy a new car. What engine are you going to put in it? And you might say, well, I'm having the 1.6 petrol engine. And they might laugh and say, oh, why don't you go for the full-fat version, have the V8 5-litre engine? So it's referring to something with the maximum flavour, taste or power in it.
Quite often it's with food, though, isn't it?
It's quite often with food.
I must admit, I love all of the things that have full fat in front of them. Full fat milk is delicious. Full fat cream. Full fat cheese.
But I'm not on about the literal meaning of it here. It's used.
Oh no, I'm just.
Yes.
No, I didn't say it wasn't.
So I'm when you say full fat Coca-Cola, you mean the version that's got all the sugar in it and calories, because the perception is that has got more flavour than the version that hasn't. Yes, so that's it. It's used. What's the word I'm looking for? It's used to describe something that's got the maximum flavour. You're not sparing anything in order to get the maximum benefit from something. You want the biggest powerful version, or the one with all the fat and sugar in it, to give you the maximum flavour.
If I had the choice, I would always go for full fat everything, and that might be the reason why I have a big tummy.
But it doesn't literally have to mean literally fat. It's a synonym for flavour.
Yes,
that's a word. You often hear that's the phrase you use. Full fat Coca-Cola. It means.
I've never heard full fat Coca-Cola.
Yes. Oh yes.
Is it very greasy?
No, it just means the full fat version, the one with the most flavour in it.
See.
You don't want the version. You don't want the sugar-free version. Oh no, give me the full fat give me the full fat Coke or the full fat Pepsi. It means. I think that's where it comes from. I don't want all the. I want all the sugar in it. And hopefully someone will reiterate what I've said. Puppy fat. Puppy fat. This is the sort of build-up of fatty deposits in your body that young children often have, or young adolescents, but which disappears as you get older. So as you grow up, so it's puppy fat. It's that sort of fat you can sort of get around your face or around your middle, and it's fat. It's the fat that's only there when you're young, and then when you grow up, you sort of a body absorbs it and it goes away.
That's
puppy fat. So you can say to somebody, "Oh, you've got a bit of puppy fat there," like your grandmother might sort of pinch you around the middle and say you've got a bit of puppy fat there. It just means it's the weight that your body puts on it in preparing for when you're going to go through a big growth phase and then you grow up. So by the time you're sort of 18, 19, 20, it's all gone. It's a term of endearment. It's not an insult, because most people, as you're growing up, going through adolescence, you have a little bit of excess weight. Because that is part of your development.
At the other end of the spectrum, of course, it is often used as an excuse when someone's child is getting fat. So they're putting on weight and they go, "Oh no, don't worry about that. That's just puppy fat." When it isn't.
Yes, people will often say that, try and make you feel better.
I love the next one. The next one, this is it. If anyone is going to have fun with today's special word, it's the next one.
This fat camp. This is where we're going to send you, Mr. Duncan. This is a phrase which we don't use in this country. I think they only use it in America.
Oh, by the way, it's not an overweight homosexual.
Okay. It's a slang word for where parents send their children like it's a residential place, like almost like a clinic. It's a camp, literally a big camp where unhealthy children who have put on a lot of weight are sent by their parents to stay for a weekend or a week or 2 weeks, and they'll go on special exercise, special diets. All that. The idea is that the parents send them there to help them lose weight. Fat camp, and that's the slang word for. It would be like a spa, really. So the slang word or the word that people would use to make you feel bad is, oh, you're going to fat camp. I mean, that must be quite nasty if you are an overweight child and your parents send you to one. I don't know what the proper name is, but the slang word is fat camp.
Well, this all started, of course, in the United States, where they literally did have fat camp, and quite often during the summer months when the schools broke up, some children would go off to summer camp, whilst others, and by that I mean fat kids, would be sent by their parents to fat camp, which is exactly what it sounds like. They would be all there together, and their eating habits would be monitored. They would eat healthy food, and they would try to lose some weight and get into a healthy way of living. So when they go back home, they will continue to do that and then lose weight.
In this country, we've used the phrase fat farms, where often overweight ladies will go for a week. It's like a spa.
Good, yes.
And they will go through a similar procedure where they might take exercise, but they'll sort of try and sweat the fat out, or they'll go on special diets, exercise regimes. It's often somewhere where maybe a rich husband would send his wife for a week in order to lose some weight, and it's a slang word, a fat farm.
Yeah, they were very popular in the 1970s. It was very it was a huge fad during the 1970s in this country. Fat farms. The wife would go to spend a few days at a fat farm, and then they would be pampered and looked after, and they would try to lose a little bit of weight, and they would have a makeover. So it's probably the early version of a health spa.
Yes.
Except in the 1970s, they called it a fat farm.
Because that's basically what, yeah, right. So here's another one. A fat burner. A fat burner. Now, these have become popular because they're popular amongst people who are desperate to lose weight the easy way. So they don't want to make the effort of restricting their diet or going for exercise. And so they look online and on the internet, and they see these special pills which promise to help you lose weight called fat burners. They're basically tablets that increase your metabolism and get you to burn off calories when you're just sitting there doing nothing. And they're quite controversial because they've got quite negative health connotations, because if you're doing something, they're often stimulants like high caffeine or something like that. So they're getting your metabolic rate burning very fast. Your heart rate goes up. You're creating a lot of heat in your body, and they're actually not very good for you at all. But fat burners are things that you can buy on the internet that supposedly help you lose weight, but they keep you awake at night. They're very bad for your heart. So they're a shortcut way of losing weight.
So you'll be thin, but also you'll probably drop dead of a heart attack.
Yes, they're stimulant drugs. They've usually got lots of caffeine in them or something like that, because if you drink lots of coffee, that increases your metabolic rate.
There's another type of weight loss aid that actually you eat it, and it makes you poop all the time. So all of the fat inside your digestive system sticks to this product, and it goes through you just like a big sloppy, wet mess. So that's another type of the thing used for losing weight, and it's disgusting. It just
Yes.
makes you have diarrhea all the time.
It stops your body absorbing the fat, so it goes straight through you. But of course, if you're not absorbing the fat, it's got to go somewhere. Fathead. That's a nasty word for really a stupid man. Or if you've got a group of stupid men, you'll call them fatheads. It just means an incompetent person, a stupid person. Oh, you stupid fathead! It's just a nasty word to say to somebody.
Can you call a woman a fathead?
I don't think you can. I think
Oh,
it's
really?
I think it's mainly for men. I think you would normally say, you might say it to a woman, but I think it's mainly refers to a man.
Maybe you just say fat
A man
to a woman.
says something stupid or does something stupid, and you say, "Oh, you stupid fathead." It's just something you wouldn't want to be called a fathead.
No.
Fat-free. That's now we're going on to a whole list of words and phrases now connected with diet, medical terms as well. So fat-free, when you refer to that, it just means something that hasn't got fat in it. So we've talked about milk being full fat. Well, milk with no fat in it is fat-free, so skim milk. You can have fat-free yogurt, fat-free cheese. Lots of foods say fat-free on them, and the idea is that there's less calories because fat has a lot of calories in it, as we know. Fat-free food tends to be a bit tasteless. So it's got sort of negative connotations at the same time as well. But it's talked a lot in dietary. Dietary fat. Dietary fat, that just refers to, we're not talking about losing weight here, we're just referring to the different types of fat that you eat, that you take into your body when you eat food. So there's animal fats, there's animal fats or vegetable fats really. So dietary fat refers to fat that you take in through your mouth when you eat food. Nothing to do with slimming at all. And there are lots of different types of fats. And a lot of them you'd have heard of, but I'll go through them quickly here. The saturated fats or saturated fat, which is basically, and it's a type of fat. There are lots of different types of fat, like there are lots of different types of sugar, and they're classified into these forms. Saturated fat is animal fat, basically, so it's the type of fat that's solid at room temperature. So when you cook a joint of meat or lard, it's solid at room temperature. Actually, interestingly enough, coconut is saturated fat as well. It refers to the chemical makeup of the type of fat that it is.
It's interesting that, though, isn't it?
Yes.
I think it's interesting that the point about coconut, because it seems like a very innocent thing,
Yes.
and yet it's full of saturated fat.
Saturated fat. It's to do with. I won't go into the sort of technical details of it, but saturated fats are the ones that have been. If you have too much of that in your diet, it's been associated with increasing your levels of cholesterol in your body, and which can lead to heart attacks and strokes.
It's basically the sticky stuff that then forms in your veins and around your heart, and it's not good for you.
Yes, I mean there is some debate over this, but basically that's the association. They think too much animal fat or saturated hard fat, the type of fat that at room temperature is solid, is associated with negative health benefits or negative health. The opposite of that is the unsaturated fats, which are mostly fish oil and vegetable oils, so sunflower oil, nuts, seeds, herring, mackerel, oily fish. What's the fish we're having tonight? I can't remember.
It is salmon.
Salmon. So, or anything that's sort of liquid at room temperature, a fat, is probably unsaturated fat, and that's associated with health benefits. that is supposed to be good, better for you than the saturated fats. But of course, as with all these things, it depends on your own body, and you need a mix of it. So we won't go into that. Rapeseed oil, liquid fat.
So, but basically, unsaturated fat is kind of viewed, even though there is a debate, as being more healthy.
Saturated fat is viewed as
That's what I said.
Unsaturated, is viewed as being that's viewed as being more unhealthy. Exactly. And then we've got another type of fat which you see quite often written on the back of packets of food: hydrogenated fat.
Ooh.
Or fats.
That's a big one. That's a big word.
Yes, that hydrogenated fat, that's not a natural fat. It's a chemical process that oil or vegetable oil goes through to make it set at room temperature. So margarine, which supposedly was originally supposed to be a healthy form of spread to put on your like to replace butter. Butter, of course, is made from animal fat. Margarine is made from vegetable oil, which has been chemically processed to make it set at room temperature. But unfortunately, it's now associated with being quite unhealthy because that chemical process makes it unhealthy.
My mother always told me that we shouldn't eat margarine, even though she used to buy it. But she used to say, "Do you know how they make margarine? It's all the waste from the sewers." And she used to say that they took all the rubbish from the sewers and they turned it into margarine. Although she might not have been far from the truth, because it is artificial.
It's because its manufacturers wanted to make butter was quite expensive. Is still more expensive than margarine. It's a cheap way of converting oil into something that you can spread on your toast. But Jeff's already mentioned that the problem with this chemical process is that it produces unhealthy trans fat.
This is the big one.
Trans fat, which is really is like a contamination, really. It does naturally occur when you cook food. The heat turns and produces this trans fat, which is an unhealthy form of fat, which they're trying to eliminate from food because they now realise that it's associated with very bad health. So that's it. That's all my words connected with fat.
Well, there are quite a few phrases, actually. Of course, there is another one, the fat of the land.
Yes.
So we can say the fat of the land is just the things that give us sustenance and allow us to live. So it's a very general term, but we often use it when we're talking about our way of life. You might live off the fat of the land. It means you do things in maybe a natural way or something that's more ecologically friendly.
Yes.
So yes, you live off the fat of the land. So the land is producing things, and you live off it.
Crops or the cows and the cattle are eating the grass, and then you live off that. You live off literally the fat of the land, which comes from the oil from the vegetables, and also the fat from the animal.
Yes, another one. If you ever go shopping with a woman or a girl, they will often try something on. They will put something on, especially if a dress or trousers, and then they will turn around and they will say, "Does my bum look fat in this? Or do I look fat in this?" So maybe they are a little worried about looking too big. So certain types of clothing might suit a certain shape, whilst others don't. I notice nowadays, here in the UK, I don't know why, but it seems to be a very current trend with women who are very overweight. They wear these very tight leggings. They're called leggings, and they're stretchy material. It's stretchy material, and they pull them on over their huge legs. And
we have to be careful what we're saying here, Mr. Duncan.
I'm just saying. But I've noticed it's a trend. I can't say anything else. There's no other way of describing it. They are very stretchy pants. But
Bye-bye, Irene.
But they often wear nothing else. Just those. Nothing. And it doesn't look good. That's what
Palmyra
I'm
says
saying.
it's boring talking about all these facts. I just want some chocolate.
Oh, okay then. Yes,
That's
I
a
agree.
nice thing. Yes,
I'm
we've all got to treat ourselves.
it's making me feel hungry.
I'm just talking about the words, so that you know, this is English, so I'm just telling you about the different words associated with it. So, yeah, I'm off now to have a piece of toast with some butter on it.
Oh, that sounds... what, is that full fat butter
Yes,
or is it fat-free?
it's fat-free. No, it's full fat butter.
There you go, you see. We have a lot of people on the live chat, by the way, who want to say hello to you. So you're so popular, Steve. My hero family. Greetings, Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve. This is Jimmy Lu Chung Hung, watching in Hong Kong. I am struggling with the book Paradise Lost. Have you read that poem? Do you have any insight on how to understand the poem? Oh, I see the poem. Well, poetry is something that sometimes can be subjective, a little bit like any other form of art. And I always think poetry is a form of art because it can be taken in many different ways. So, yes, one person's view of a piece of poetry or a piece of art might differ from another's. So, take from it what you feel it is saying. That would be my advice. Olga, I did shopping today and said exactly the same thing. Oh, what did you say? I'm wondering what Olga said. I'm very...
Somebody's brought up Brexit.
Really?
Yes.
Where?
There we go. Patricia says, I'm wondering, what do you think about Brexit? You better not start us on that subject. That's the sort of subject where we would get into arguments.
We never talk about politics or views. I talked about this. Actually, I mentioned this earlier. I did talk about this earlier before you joined us about political views and also not giving our political views away about things like Brexit before you arrived. So yes, those black knee socks. Oh, I see. Oh, you mean because I wore some black knee socks once in one of my video lessons. My hero family says, I'm struggling with Paradise Lost by John Milton. As I said before.
Same person, yeah.
Yes, I know it's the same person, Steve. I know it is. Also, can you enjoy a small amount of full fat butter? Ah, yes, that's quite good. So you can have something that has a lot of fat in it, but you have it in moderation.
Yes, it's everything in moderation.
So yes, you can have ice cream.
Although some people on here would think that we're wimps, and that you should live life to the full and eat and drink what you like. And yeah, if you want to do that, fine.
Yeah, if you want to drink loads of beer, if you want to eat lots of food, if you want to die when you're 55, it's fine. I have no problem with that.
Yes, Mika. Yes, I have butter, and sometimes I have butter made from olive oil.
Yes.
And yeah, mix and match it. Do what you like. Sometimes I think you've got to enjoy yourself. You can't say no to everything.
Oh, I see. Olga is agreeing with what I said earlier about women that go shopping and they're worried about their bottom looking big or looking fat in certain types of clothing. Thank you very much for that. Sergio says a new season of Doctor Who is starting and it's a woman. It's a transgender Doctor Who. That's incredible because Doctor Who used to be a man and now he's a woman. So that means he must be a transgender Doctor Who. So that's incredible. So well done to the BBC for having the first transgender, a person who used to be a man and now is a woman, the first transgender Doctor Who. It's incredible. So yes, very exciting. Would it be a Time Lord though? Isn't there another term?
Time Lady.
Time Lady. Shouldn't be Time Lady, not Time Lord. So I think we should describe the new Doctor Who as a Time Lady. You are wonderful when you state legging. Oh, me? Oh, I see. I think Steve was a little bit worried, though.
See, Vlad is saying that curvy women are very cute.
Ah, yes, each to his own.
That's it.
Some men love shapely women.
Yes.
Women that have a lot of curves.
Certain cultures as well.
For example?
I'm not going to give any examples.
Oh,
but
okay.
Certain cultures, well, because I could offend somebody, couldn't I?
That's it.
Certain cultures prefer women who are larger, shall I say?
What about Kim Kardashian? She's got a huge bottom, and
Has
it's all fake. She's had things put in her bum to make her bum big, and apparently lots of women are doing this now. They have these implants put in their buttocks. I'm not joking. And they make their bum really, really huge. And a woman last week died. Apparently a few women have actually died now from having this particular procedure, because I think there are complications afterwards, like infections and things. So they have these big pieces of silicone put in their bottoms to make their bums huge.
That's it. In the price for trying to make yourself look better is often, particularly if you're having surgery. I mean, when you have any type of surgery, there's always a risk of death from that. And cosmetic surgery is because it's not done. It's often done in clinics where you're not sure of the qualifications of the doctors, and
Yes.
quite often people go to other countries because it's cheaper to have these cosmetic procedures done in other countries. How do you know if the doctor is properly qualified? So it's a huge risk you take, and so that's the price. That's the price you pay for vanity. Is sometimes that's the ultimate price. So you're so vain that you want to have implants in your body because you think it'll make you more attractive, and then you die as a result of that procedure. That's the ultimate price for vanity.
I never ever want now. I never want to have any surgery, even if I needed it. If I had appendicitis, I had to have my appendix removed. If I had to do that, I would hate it. I would be so afraid. So I don't want any surgery.
But that would be you have to have that if you've got
Yes.
appendicitis. That's an essential surgery.
That's it.
But if you elect or decide that you are going to have a medical procedure because you want to make you look more beautiful, or you think it will, then like having your breasts enlarged, or
Your breasts enlarged. That's great.
There's risks from any surgery. There's always a risk. You might die from the anaesthetic. You might get infections afterwards.
You could actually turn the sound down on this live stream, and you would still know what Mr. Steve was saying.
It's nearly 4 o'clock.
I'm
Mr.
trying to do
Duncan.
something here,
Yes,
Steve.
I know.
So Steve is going, and you would still know that he was saying something about large breasts. That's brilliant. Are we going in a moment? We are going
I
in a
am.
moment. Yes, Mr. Steve wants to go because you're going to make a cup of tea, I think.
I'm hungry.
And he's very hungry. What are you going to eat? Something healthy?
I'm going to have some white bread
Oh, bad.
with butter and jam on it.
Bad, all bad. See, even Mr. Steve likes to have the occasional unhealthy
But
snack.
I can get away with it because I'm not overweight. I have put a little bit on. I put a couple of pounds on actually over the summer. And it's because, I know why, it's because the chocolate's in the house and you share it out. You're like a drug pusher, Mr. Duncan. So you want the chocolate, but you want me to eat it as well so that you don't feel so guilty. That often happens in households, actually.
Why am I
people
giving-
are enabling each other?
Why am I being blamed for your bad habits? So please don't do that.
But this often happens. You find people who are smoking in households. It's very difficult for one partner to smoke and the other one not to. So unless they both give up, and it's the same with losing weight. You often find families where they're all overweight because they've all got the same habit. They're all sort of feeding each other's sort of bad habits.
Julie
I'm not
G.
judging anybody. That's just an observation.
Let's go to the live chat before we leave. Julie G. I'm eating a peanut biscuit. It's fatty, but I am happy. Well, if it makes you happy,
Well,
go with it.
Peanut butter. I love peanut butter.
There
But
you go.
anything's good for you in moderation. It's
course-
just if you have too much of it.
According to Vlad, Kim Kardashian and Sofia Vergara are curvy, but Sofia is all natural. There's nothing artificial in her bum. Quasi says, I am very sad. Quasi, oh why? Or Crusai, I'm sad you didn't read my comment. It's up.
Oh, we didn't see that.
I didn't-
Quite often it's difficult for us to read all the comments
Yes.
because there are too many
We
to
can't
read.
we can't read everyone's comments, unfortunately.
Let's have a quick look back.
Oh, it might. Yes, I don't know
Could be
where.
anywhere, and
Yes,
it's
we're
4
going.
o'clock.
We're going now, Steve. Giab, hello, Mr. Duncan. I am learning English. Thank you for teaching. Don't forget, there's a new lesson coming on Wednesday. Another grammar lesson. Some people are watching. Some people aren't. Mr. Steve, you can cook for Duncan. Oh, yes, I have my own personal chef on Sunday, and that's Mr. Steve, because he cooks the salmon for both of us. Isn't that nice?
Jeff, thank you, Jeff. I've set you a goal to lose weight.
Ah, well done.
Well done,
Thank
well
you.
done, Jeff. It's been a while since you've said that, and
Yes.
it's a welcome to that for that comment.
It's nice to see that Jeff has managed to squeeze in another use of the word set.
Which if people, well, we won't go into that.
I like matrix tricks, and what is the relevance of 2018 in because he's put them in Roman numerals, so I find that quite interesting. I want to know why you've put it like that.
Interesting. Mr. Bruno doesn't think that you look overweight.
Oh, I see.
Which of you two is overweight? I can't understand the
It's me.
illusions. Yes. Yeah, so he's saying that you don't really look that bad. You just
no.
want, but what you used to be, that's what you're comparing yourself to.
Yeah.
What you were like, say, 10, 20 years ago when
Yeah.
you were probably 3 or 4 stone lighter. So
That's
that's
it.
what you're trying to achieve.
But it's nothing to do with that. I think everyone is misunderstanding what I'm actually saying. What I'm saying is I don't want to get any fatter. I don't want to lose control of this habit. So if you lose control of the habit, it takes over your life, and before you realize it, you're 18 or 20 or 25 stone, and then you have to have your own TV show where they come and film you in your bed, and then you lift your blanket up and you've got those big giant sort of red legs and the feet that look like they've been inflated. In fact, the person looks like they've been inflated with a large pump. So I don't want to be that person. So that's what I'm avoiding. The reason why I want to lose some weight is so I don't put any more weight on.
Oh, thank you, Antonia,
So it's
for that comment.
Preventative. I'm preventing it. I don't want to get fat, and I don't want to get ill. I don't want to get diabetes or have a heart attack or become infirm, which means I can't move around. I don't want any of those
Thank
things.
you, thank you, Matilda. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Sweetness Mitra, for your comments about the lesson today. And I'm going now.
Everyone is complaining that we've made them feel hungry.
Yes, that's the problem.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you, Vlad. Thank you, Dodang. Thank you also, Antonio, Sweetness. We will see you next Sunday. And, of course, a new lesson is coming on Wednesday. For those who are wondering, live chat with the live English every Sunday at 2 p.m. UK time. There it is now going across the screen. And for those who want to make a small donation, don't forget, you can do that at PayPal Me. And there is the address for your donations to keep all of this going, because we do all of this for free. It costs you nothing. So a little donation or a big donation, if you are a millionaire, if they're
Particularly people who are having their own chefs to come round and cook for them.
yes, maybe people who can afford to have personal chefs to come round to their house.
Lewis, there isn't a lesson on. Oh yes, the lesson you're putting on Wednesday. Yes, not a live one.
No,
Right, I'm going to go and make a cup of tea,
that's lovely.
and I shall see you all next week. Mr. Duncan will fade me away
Yes,
and
well,
then say goodbye to himself. So, bye for now, and see you all next week.
Mr. Steve has left the building. There, I will leave you with the view outside. It's gone a little dark now, but you can see that autumn is definitely in the air. You can see also there it's very dark as well. It looks like the sun has gone in. What a shame. What a pity. I will see you on Sunday, next Sunday at 2 p.m. UK time. Until then, this is Mr. Duncan in England saying thanks for following me today. Thanks for your company. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too boring. Maybe for some people it was, for which I apologise right now. And of course, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Until the next time we meet, right here on YouTube. Ta-ta for now.